The expenditure of living and surviving in a particular place varies country by country. While surviving in some countries will not burn a hole in your pocket, it's not the case in some other places. Inflation levels around the world are at the highest levels since recent years, driving up the cost of living for their residents. The countries mentioned in this video are ranked according to their average cost of living. High taxes, wages, food, housing, and transportation costs can all contribute to a high cost of living for residents. But keep in mind that even if the cost of living of a nation is high, some cities in that country may still not be that expensive or vice versa. Moreover, these countries have high living standards and comparatively healthy wages. Here are the 10 most expensive countries to live in the world. Number 10. Japan. Japan has a reputation for its high living costs, especially Tokyo, which annually makes it into the lists of the world's top 10 most expensive cities. Rent tends to make up a large chunk of living costs in Japan, followed by car ownership and transport. However, living in Japan does not have to be expensive, and costs can be controlled depending on where you're located. The average monthly cost of living for a single person in its major cities like Tokyo and Osaka can be roughly around $2,800, including accommodation. But overall, the country has an extremely stable economy and is known for ultra-modern, innovative conveniences. Furthermore, it has universal public health care, meaning everyone who lives there is automatically covered. So, medical expenses rarely cause hardship for people living in Japan. Number 9. Denmark. Denmark is simply not for those wanting to live on the cheap. From eating out to consumables and even the price of gasoline, the price of everything is high. However, the good thing is wages are also higher in Denmark compared to other countries of the world, which balances out the expensive cost of living in the country. Its capital city of Copenhagen is one of the most expensive cities in the world. Life outside the capital is not quite as expensive, but it's far from cheap. One thing which is certain is that if you live as a foreigner in Denmark, you would enjoy high quality of life, but it comes at a cost, even more so if you're with kids. Currently, the average cost of living for a single individual is around $2,900. Number 8. Ireland. The cost of living in Ireland is quite high when compared to some other European countries, but is by no means the most expensive. Its capital city, Dublin, requires more money to live comfortably than other areas of the country and is often compared to London with regards to cost of living. Rent in Dublin has been on the rise in recent years, maybe due to firms moving from the UK after Brexit. However, it's important to note that expats usually have well-paid jobs due to the level of skill often required to be granted permission to work. This means that those who are moving to Ireland for work should not find it difficult to live comfortably. It's estimated that a single person would need approximately $3,000 a month to live comfortably in Ireland. Number 7. Norway. Scandinavian countries are notoriously expensive, and Norway is no exception. According to expatriates, the average monthly cost of living for a single person is roughly around $3,100. Food is very costly, as is eating out, and even things such as taxi fares are sometimes double what you would expect to pay in the rest of Europe. It has a high value-added tax rate, 25%, which pushes up the expense of most everyday costs, while food has a lower tax rate at just 15%, but is still considered expensive. On the flip side, education, healthcare, and transportation in Norway are all subsidized by the government. High taxes provide for quality public services. Plus, most citizens in Norway, from different employment sectors, from education to food service, earn lucrative wages. Number 6. Singapore. Singapore has dropped by one place to be in the 6th position in the global cost of living rankings, but remains in the top 10 most expensive countries for expats to live. Currently, the average cost of living for a single person is approximately around $3,200 per month. One of the main factors for the high cost of living in Singapore can be attributed to Singapore's lack of land and natural resources. This has led to Singapore's dependency on other countries for supplying food, oil, water, and more. While the other reason for high cost of living is due to the lack of accommodation, and the country depends on foreign labor workers to construct buildings to accommodate a growing population on this tiny island nation. But in spite of that, it's been ranked as the top country in Asia in terms of quality of living, safety, and lucrative salary packages. Number 5. Iceland. This Nordic island has been a popular destination for millennial travel bloggers and nature lovers in recent years. Its cost of living is quite high, but interestingly, it isn't due to housing. You can rent a home for less than half of what you could in New York. It's the food that's pricey. You will have to spend quite a fortune on groceries. It is cut off from the rest of Europe and with very little fertile ground and is forced to import much of its food, pushing up costs. The average cost of living in this country tends to be around $3,300 per month. Number 4. The Bahamas. The Bahamas is one of the most famous and expensive island nations in the Caribbean. Although it primarily serves as a tourist highlight, it's still an excellent place to live. Many high net worth individuals live here regardless of the high cost of living because it offers several tax incentives and banking options. But given that there is no income tax, the government makes its money by taxing imported goods, which can send the price of everyday groceries skyrocketing. Currently, the average cost of living for a single person in this island nation is roughly around $3,400. Furthermore, housing in the country also tends to be on the more expensive side of average, although reasonable prices can still be found depending on the type and location of housing you choose. Number 3. Luxembourg. Luxembourg is famous for its high GDP per capita, fantastic wages, and tax breaks. It is also known as the 6th smallest country in Europe that borders France, Belgium, and Germany, and it is close to the top when it comes to the cost of living as well. The average monthly cost of living for a single person in this country is estimated to be around $3,600. The main reason for the high cost of living is the significant shortage of housing in the country. This is due to many factors, such as an increasing population, a lack of new housing, rising housing prices, and more. The average monthly cost of a one-bedroom apartment at bare minimum is approximately $1,600. Number 2. Switzerland. Unsurprisingly, Switzerland is one of the most expensive countries to live in. If you've ever visited there, then you can certify that it is pricey. The country is particularly pricey when it comes to food, beverages, hotels, housing, clothing, restaurants, and health insurance, or pretty much everything you need. The cost of restaurants and groceries is outrageously high and is often described as more expensive than any other country in the world. However, average wages do well at keeping up with this high cost of living, leaving Switzerland with a relatively high purchasing power. The high prices are often exacerbated for foreign visitors by the strength of the Swiss franc, which makes it more expensive to buy the currency. Number 1. Monaco. Monaco topping the list of the most expensive countries in the world should come as no surprise, with the French Principality long regarded as a playground for the global elite. It's regarded as the second smallest country in the world, and it's filled with nothing but luxury, so it makes sense that it's going to be one of the most expensive countries in the world. Furthermore, it is a very densely populated country, and the state consists of only one commune, the municipality of Monaco. The main cause of its high cost of living is accommodation. On average, a one-bedroom apartment rent in this state is a whopping $4,000 to $5,000. And the average cost of living for a single person, including rent and all amenities, at bare minimum is about $7,300 per month. Bye.